The Kentucky Derby returns tomorrow, and we have the most exciting 2 minutes in sports covered. Contessa Brewer is taking a look at Derby betting. But first, we get to Frank Holland, who's actually in Louisville. He's got the economic impact of the Run for the Roses. Frank, good morning. We're going to start with you.
Hey, good morning, Becky. More than $400 million in economic impact is generated by the Kentucky Derby pre-COVID this year, with capacity capped at about 50%, and the pandemic really reducing the desire to travel, stay in hotels, and dress up for large public gatherings. That impact expected to only be a fraction, about $35 million. It's a problem facing many other cities. For example, the Miami Boat Show, that was just canceled. The state losing $850 million in economic impact. And now the Big Tech State Fair in Dallas and the Pride Parade in the Bay, two more examples of boost for the local economy that might not generate the same revenues this year. It's hitting the hospitality industry the hardest. For this year's Derby, for example, hotel occupancy at about 65% when normally it'd be at 99 to 100%. Events like this also drive customers to the gig economy, with rates and demand for rideshare and Airbnbs spiking in previous years. According to the Chamber of Commerce here in Louisville, it's also harder for local merchants and even big businesses to plan and staff with so much uncertainty.
How much do you invest in the Derby weekend? How many people do you hire? And really, the workforce issue here in Kentucky has been a real struggle. With so many people out of the workforce over the last year, finding the workers to make sure that we can pull off Derby weekend has been a struggle.
And this change for publicly celebrated events also impacts a lot of alcohol stocks. Brown-Forman, the maker of Woodford Reserve, the official bourbon sponsor of the Derby, says Derby parties globally are historically a big revenue driver. We'll have to see this year. Looking ahead, the pandemic impact on Cinco de Mayo parties likely to be felt by the company that produces Jose Cuervo tequila and Corona maker Constellation Brands. Joe, back over to you.
All right. Can you give me you got any inside info, Frank? What can you help me out? What's
Joe, I was just by the paddock. I was by the paddock. I was petting the horses. I was talking to them. I fed a few carrots. They said to me very clearly, tell Joe he's not a good gambler. Stay away from this.
Did they use the Mr. Did they use that voice? So you're talking to horses now. That's good. That's good.
No, that's back in the 50s, Joe. That was before my time. I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
Oh, God. Everybody, but you've heard of it. You know about it. Okay, fine. You know what?
Of course, Mr. Ed. A horse is a horse, of course, of course. Seen it many times.
Yeah. Play dumb. And then you even know the theme song. Thank you, Frank. Now to Contessa and the big money being wagered on the race. Maybe you got a pick for me, Contessa?
Well, I think essential quality is the pick for a lot of people. We can get to that in a minute here, but I just wanted to mention, this might be a no-brainer to you that the Kentucky Derby is the biggest event of the year for Churchill Downs, but it might be surprising for you to learn customer acquisition-wise because the brand is inextricably tied to the event itself. It makes it cheaper to win new customers. Now, the marketing strategy year-round focused on the Derby, introducing new players to Twin Spires. That's Churchill Downs' betting platform. But then, of course, the challenge is it has to keep those players.
What's more difficult is to offer a quality product that keeps your customers there when they're not always making money and when you're not always giving them player incentives to play. So that margin, that margin is ultimately how you have a successful gambling business.
Churchill Downs says it gets two more competitive advantages here. First, it owns the content and feeds it exclusively to Twin Spires' platform. Second, its history, its licensing is all about horse racing. So DraftKings, for instance, doesn't have pari-mutuel licenses that are required to accept bets on horse racing. Well, last year, $80 million was wagered on the Kentucky Derby with no live fans present. So that was a big deal because traditionally this has been a bet-in-person sport. COVID sent a lot of these gamblers online. And then we saw this first quarter of 2021, Twin Spires revenue up 39% over the prior year. They are taking it. They're running with it, Joe.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.